It is decider time here in the European Group C of WCS Winter. Welcome back. My name is Fear Dragon. I am here at the desk with Nathanius.
What's up, dude?
How's it going?
Fantastic. I spent a little bit of time with the chat. I was hanging out with the homies, watching the stream with me, and hopefully
Did you implore the trick that I gave you yesterday?
Yes, I asked everybody what their favorite dipping sauce was. Interestingly enough, a lot of you watching the stream are big fans of honey mustard. I'm surprised by that as a barbecue boy myself.
Honey mustard?
I've
never even heard of that. I mean, I'm the wrong person to talk to.
Okay. I'm not sure if you're trolling me or not.
Maybe just a little bit. But you know what I'm not trolling you about, Nate?
What?
How wonderful those war chest skins are. Because, of course, if you haven't picked up your own war chest skin, we got this beautiful red and black Nexus right here that you guys can own if you just go ahead and purchase that war chest, play a few games. You know what? I understand. Some people are busy. They don't have time to play a few games. Hit that button over there after you buy the war chest, and you'll unlock experience just by watching this broadcast.
That's right. It works on it works on the mobile as well.
Yeah.
I was able to do it. I was getting points while I was just waiting. I think I was doing another StarCraft thing actually.
Well, of course, besides the war chest skin, there is also some StarCraft stuff happening, and that's in fact these two players are back over here and going to be playing against each other in a bit of a rematch. Harstem versus Starbuck. The first time they played. A little bit one-sided. Starbuck have a little bit. Like, I would say at least between 5 to 96% one-sided.
Would you say it was like 40-40 chance or?
40-40? Yeah, I would say that's a pretty golden way of describing it.
Wow. You're two on the level.
The golden ratio, man.
Can't catch this guy off guard.
I've finally woken up to your memes. Took me a little while.
I wonder how many people that tune in for this broadcast remember that. That was like
4 years ago now.
Was it? Oh, was it
2012?
Good God.
Might have been.
StarCraft references require hieroglyphics to decipher now.
Definitely.
All my emails from Artosis,
you know what?
Rosetta Stone to actually read his messages.
The truly sad thing is that Wikipedia does not have a golden historical record of memes in the StarCraft scene. That's what we need.
Maybe it's better that
we have Team Liquid contests where you can vote on the best memes every year, but we don't have an actual record of the memes. Nate, as the meme master, what are you going to do about this?
Some things you gotta, when something is lit, sometimes you just gotta let it burn, Rubby. That's it.
Gotta let the match go out.
When you reach the end of the wick, you don't save what's left of it, okay? You throw it out.
John Wick saves everything that's left of it.
Oh, God.
Starting down here.
We're here. Introduce the players.
In the bottom left-hand corner, or bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss player. He is Harstem from Team Asterion.
He's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy. He's good at the video game. His opponent in the Northwest, the red Zerg player. He is Starbuck.
You know what's amazing is that Starbuck has been playing since 2011, 2012, only 22. Really, if you tell me to guess the age of Starbuck before this broadcast, I would have probably told you 26, maybe 28.
Didn't Raynor start playing StarCraft like in infancy as well? Before
he started playing, he has been playing since 2012 or 2013.
I've been seeing people post, you know, what was it, the special Protoss keyboard and all that a long time ago. You can get into StarCraft.
Do you remember when StarCraft 2 launched? There were all of the special keyboard and mouse and headset that you could get that would light up with different colors depending on your APM.
Oh yeah.
It actually hook into the game. I
remember all the special programs that came out to mod it because of how many players couldn't get their APM high enough to make the colors change. That was an excellent.
Sorry, that's a really funny picture to me. It's like, I bought this product and I can't use it because I'm not good enough.
It's like, we got you a car that doesn't use any power source, just runs. But you have to be able to play StarCraft at 500 APM. It's like, damn it.
Apparently, we're hearing from production that Raynors reached Masters League at the age of 11. What did you do when you were 11, Nate?
Oh, goodness. I don't even remember. I don't know. I had a golden retriever. I think I just ran around. I lived in the woods. I literally just ran around with my dog.
I love how
that would describe Nathan at 11 years old.
I love that I ask you, what did you do at 11? And your answer is what you owned at 11. You owned an animal.
No. We don't own pets. That's no.
Oh no, not
kind
even
of
that,
language
not even in
from
that
me.
sense. But just it wasn't what you actually did. It was just like,
What
well,
you really got
bought a
was
dog.
What you really got was a good depiction of what I remember the most as a child. Which was
That
my
is
dog.
fair.
So that was most of my days. But when I was on the computer, I was playing StarCraft at that point actually.
Okay, I can dig that.
2004 actually, yes, it would have been 11.
Wow.
That's when my dad got me Brood War. So I would have been running around with my dog and playing StarCraft.
Okay, so let's talk really quickly about these builds because they are shaping up quite a bit as we see that there is no third base right now for Starbuck. Harstem had that probe sitting by that third base, and 3 minutes is about as late as a Zerg player normally wants to get that third base. This is definitely way beyond 3 minutes now.
Do you think it's a noise?
With the super fast layer tech, he doesn't have his... Okay, he's getting his second gas geyser and his third gas geyser
Don't
now.
you think he would want to get a Roach Warren? I don't know. Maybe this is just... Maybe he's going to do it differently. Maybe it's just going to be something weird, something crazy, something insane.
I'm just going to let it happen, man. I'm not even going to try and predict it. There are 2 Oracles going to be opened up, though. No Phoenix first. And in a way, that is going to be helpful for Harstem because he's going to have more units that actually hit ground units. The Phoenix can be nice for scouting, but unless you have multiple,
I don't know.
kind of hard to make him use.
Like, he's not cranking out queens. There's a Hydralisk Den, but the fact that there's still no third base...
Oh, he's going for 2 base lurkers?
It has to be a Nidus. No.
It was a really weird build that I saw in the meta for maybe a week or two.
I think
about 4 months ago.
Know, man. I think I saw like a salty NA streamer do 2-base lurker for a bunch, and I was like, that's not going to be a thing. I've literally not seen anybody do this at a high level. He's not going to rush lurkers.
Well, Harstem knows that there's no third base. He's seen the Hydra Den, I believe. No, he actually hasn't moved to the natural yet. He must be scratching his head right now.
Possible. It's not possible. It's not rushing lurkers.
All right.
Hydra speed.
Hydra speed. And Harstem.
It's a really late third. Okay, I don't know. Maybe he thought that Harstem was going to attack him, and he's like, I need Hydralisks.
Uh-oh.
Which is still perplexing.
Oh, no.
Rip.
Wow, that is an appropriate name.
All right, there we go. He's
never seen a name so appropriate.
I assume Harstem will be like, all right, let's go.
Who's the referee? Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Miss stacks.
Game resumed.
Did not miss that one.
Thank you, Fear Dragon. Yeah. Well, no, Starbuck's build is weird. But then again, I would probably be flailing around with no idea what to do if I had to play a ZVP versus Harstem. So...
Yeah, Harstem also... The problem here...
I would have tried to stack all my drones onto a single hex and then like, do the drone rush.
You know Florencio, right?
Yeah. Oh, I did it! There it is!
Oh!
By the way, there it is.
Okay. Nicely done.
Nidus.
So, Nidus gets immediately revealed the literal second it got thrown down.
That is unfortunate.
And Harstem just goes up to a robotics bay. He's got only 3 gateways, but he can warp in a decent number of units to help deal with any kind of Nidus Worm play. The chances that it's able to get up safely inside of Harstem's base is probably pretty low, just because he has full vision of everything.
If he brings the oracles, then it's almost impossible to actually get the worm down. By the way, nothing has vision. Yeah, there's no vision anywhere. So you couldn't even plant. You couldn't even use a worm if you wanted.
Just throws down a Roach Warren. Now here's the problem: is his third base was so late, it's not actually saturated right now. Sure, Harstem also delayed his own third base, but Harstem was getting up tech, and Starbuck was also getting up tech that he then canceled and no longer has. So, where do you go from here as Starbuck?
I don't know. No, I have absolutely no idea what to say. I'm trying to channel my inner ink control. I'm looking for the snarky side, but it doesn't look that great. You hit the nail on the head. He delayed his economy a lot, and then the moment he decided to commit to the tech was the exact moment that the Oracle came in and used Revelation on his base. And you know, not trying to be negative here, but it's really nothing's gone his way, right? Because he needed to do something a little bit outside the ordinary to beat a player like Harstem, except every step of the way, Harstem shows us why he is so good, why he is so loved, why he has so many fans, why he's so handsome in his amazing play, his reacting, his scouting, and he just knows everything.
Yep. Big advantage of the Stargate opening is that you get vision of everything. You don't really get to hide too much. But the Stargate player is on point with that Oracle control, and Harstem has been. He sees everything that comes out. The Colossus are going to absolutely tear through the Hydras, so the Roaches are going to be added in to help out, but those will also get ripped through. Once he starts building up that Colossus count, he's already up to 3, or going up to the 3rd one now.
There's an Immortal or 2 in the backbone as well, right?
One Immortal. Probably needs to make a War Prism at some point before he goes for a big push out, but he's going to get up charge, get up +1 weapons, might even start up a +2 really quickly, gets up to Templar Archives. He's just kind of running away with his tech right now and saying, well, I know that you're also still only on 3 bases, only now taking that 4th base, so I'm still in a good spot to just keep teching up and get up the big Doomsday army to kill you with.
Yep. If you're Harstem, you just don't want to, there's no reason to take any chances here. Just build up what you think you're going to need, make the big push, you know, cash the check, as we say.
Overseer comes in, and it barely survives, making its way into the main base to scout out what Starbuck is going to be up against. Probably not going to be too happy seeing all of those tech buildings like the Templar Archives. And
yeah, well, I think as a Zerg player in this situation, you got to realize you're in some trouble. You're on even economy with a Protoss, which is never good. Actually, Harstem has more workers, which is unusual. The drop play, I can get behind this, though. This is the type of thing that's, like, not really something that usually saves you, but it is one of the things that could, right? It's not something that the Protoss players are going to be as experienced with. It's kind of your deep ball, I need to knock the Protoss off kilter, kind of reset this game and try to get yourself into a situation where you can make some plays.
Absolutely. And it is one of those things where as the game goes on, players spread themselves out further as they take more bases. So just because Harstem is also taking a 4th base, this is now maybe an opportunity to try and get some damage done with these drop overlords. He situates 2 up in the top right, moves his army through the center, which that army, I hope that it doesn't decide to commit here, but...
Lurker Den on the way. Protoss army is going to step out, and he's like, all right, bro, let's dance. He's going to see that, and I think that should trigger the drops to move in. Yep, they are on their way to the natural expansion, and let's see, is he going to be able to buy himself time? Well, will Harstem's army just be impossible to stop anyway?
Harstem's starting to pull back from the center of the map.
Big warp-ins here. Roaches coming out. A few Hydralisks. They got a Photon Cannon, a Stalker warp-in. Is going to help deal with this, but at the same time, there's another drop actually hitting the 3rd base from the south side. The Phoenix are here to try and help.
Oh.
It's just 3 Hydras and a Roach.
Yep. Only 1 Overlord in that kind of drop, so that gets cleaned up. The main army is pushed back. The last Hydra and the drop of the natural gets cleaned up, and that is everything. Everything that Starbuck just threw kind of getting shut down. Did buy some time for the Lurker Den, and he's actually sitting up a little bit in army supply, but it's the quality of the army.
Yes, a finely curated selection of Protoss forces from all across the Kaprulu sector.
Colossus, Archons,
Truly
Immortals.
Magnificent collection.
Even adding on that fleet beacon with the 2nd Stargates. Yeah, this is Harstem getting ready.
Well, we must finish with some pizzazz. A little razzle-dazzle, if I do say so myself.
Harstem shouldn't wait for carriers, though, right? Do you?
No.
Because if you give your opponent a little too much time, that is where things can maybe start backfiring. But
I feel like we've already seen carriers.
Yeah.
Be a great throw in the winners match.
Exactly. And the fleet beacon finishes up. He's getting a +1 air weapons. He's getting up his mothership. I don't mind starting up the mothership, but the mothership also takes, I think, 2 or 3 minutes to finish. If Harstem waits that long, Hive Tech will finish up. Potentially a Greater Spire could finish up by then, and a lot of Corruptors will be out.
Yeah. He's got him almost maxed out. I do feel a little bit nervous about the way he's moving that army forward because, as you mentioned, you got to be really careful. 2 carriers are on the way, +1 Protoss air, and a lot of supplies tied up in that mothership. Of course, it's like 8 supply or something insane for that.
That's a big mama.
Indeed, it is.
Zealous clean up the Roach run by. I like that he invested in a lot of these photon cannons and everything, but he's starting up more carriers as
with
well.
What you're saying, though. If Harstem had made a more mid-game minded strategy, maybe there's an opportunity that he could have closed this out a lot earlier. But the amount of time that Starbuck has gotten to bolster himself up and build up his tech, it looks good. He's got the lurkers. He is making his way to getting the adaptive tunneling claws, whatever, adaptive talons.
Adaptive talons.
So the lurkers burrow
Like an
instantly.
eagle.
Yes, like a
'Cause
reverse
eagles-
bald eagle.
Because an
Instead
eagle
of bald
flies.
eagles immediately jump in the air, but a reverse bald eagle is a lurker that immediately burrows. It insta-burrows.
It makes sense,
Can't
man.
be stopped.
The math checks out.
There's actually no takeoff animation on bald eagles. That's how free they are.
It's a one-frame move.
Yeah, that's right. Can't dodge it either.
Zealot run by gets cleaned up. It kills off 6 workers. This is a situation, though, where both the players are tied up in supply. Sure, the army for Harstem is going to look a lot scarier than Starbuck's for a little bit, but Starbuck is also getting a pathogen gland, so he's going to have some infestors. He's got 15 corruptors.
Is that a prism in the main base he's got going on now, too, as well?
Yes.
Happened. An immortal got in there, too. That's interesting.
Corruptors took out the Warp Prism, though, so the Zealots are going to get cleaned up. The Immortal doing quite a bit of damage.
Funneling out some supply, I think. Yeah. Making more room to get extra carriers would be my guess. And in this situation, I like the carriers. Really, carriers, for them to do what they do best, it's all about those Archons. And with that many, he's going to be able to 1 or 2 shot all the Corruptors if he does dive on him. And now it just becomes a delicate balance between
High Templars.
Lurkers.
Adaptive Talons helping out and getting some damage done to the High Templars. Segmenting off 1 Lurker to try and finish the job. Not going to happen. Storm comes down, Lurker dies, and the Mothership is going to be protecting this army. Well, what is going to be protecting the Mothership? Just the Archons for now. The carriers are not actually with the rest of this army.
No, they are not.
Also only 1 Overseer, which is a little bit frightening.
Good revelation. In this situation, I always love putting the Archons on their own hotkey so you can pull them in a flash over towards those Corruptors. As long as you can keep the Corruptors off your carriers and you reach that magic number and in control, and you were talking about this in the last series, that +2 is where the carriers really start to shine in terms of punching through that Zerg Carapace, then you should be fine. It's really just the Archon control is the most important thing here. If those Archons go away, then Corruptors just roller skate over this air force.
Well, Harstem played it for the very safe play, and finally, 7 or 8 minutes later, after he's kind of secured a lead, he's going in. Storms come down, rocking those Hydras' world. Corruptors getting pushed back as well, as they are not able to engage in those storms. This is the thing that he was missing, by the way, in that series versus a laser. He didn't have the storms, he didn't have the Archons. He's also getting some good drone damage in. Yep. Funny enough, that he is also going to free up supply for Starbuck to further max out. Is he going to get a chance to max, or you make use of the maxed out army, though?
Really good use, actually, of the way that he's been splitting him around, making this push, getting some of the spores. I like it, that big prism in the main, getting a lot of Zealots. And the Hydras are going to be able to come over here and shut this down, but being able to have that opportunity to perhaps eventually
he didn't kill the Warp Prism.
To the Greater Spire is really big.
The Warp Prism not being killed off, like you said, is maybe going to allow Harstem to move in and snipe off the Greater Spire, which I thought actually was already built, but I guess Harstem might have sniped it off with one of the previous Zealot Warp and
Canceled
run
it. He canceled the Greater Spire. Now the Spire starts up, but that means we got a lot of time on the clock before we got to think about Broodlords.
That also means no more Corruptors for a little bit, so those Corruptors he does have, which are already softened up, going to be pretty important. We already see Desperation Spores trying to force back this army. Those are getting taken out by some of the Archons and the Immortals. Zoning Storms coming out as well. Harstem behind this, also sending another Zealot run by over to that bottom left-hand base.
Yep, really like this. Going to be able to get a good pickup there. I don't think that there's really too much
he just ignores
resources
it.
available. I think it's really dangerous to try and send everything down there. But yeah, the Zealots are just going to change course.
Also has some Zealots over on the top right-hand base. Going to clean up some drones. Has that hatchery awfully low on hit points. And the Zealots just on 3-1 upgrades, and that's a shield upgrade, by the way. Applies to both the ground and air army for Harstem. It'll be pretty difficult to take out. Then the base goes down. Starbuck is freaking out.
He's doing really well. Sick feedbacks on the Infestors, denying a lot of the energy there, even though they get hit with that fungal. Neural Parasite is not ready yet, and it's kind of weird. It's a very weird ability to try and use against the carriers. Prism's inside of the main again, by the way. And he's gonna move in. There's
doesn't have Neural, though, like you said.
What's really fun is, you know, Fear Dragon, I feel like a lot of people forget, but I love seeing the old Mothership grabs back in the days of Vortex. Tragically, that doesn't exist anymore. But
yeah.
I do like that, you know, Time Warp. People forget that. I believe it slows down, if you could steal it with enough energy, slows down attack speed of units that are caught in it now
It
as well.
does. So what's kind of interesting, and I have not tested this since the mothership's time warp got changed.
Oh, does the time warp change ownership?
The time warp changes ownership, or when it was a mothership core back in Heart of the Swarm and stuff, or even earlier Legacy of the Void, the time warp changed ownership when the Neuroparasite expired.
Neuroparasite has a lot of weird effects on the game.
It
I remember
really
when
does.
Zerg versus Zerg was like really weird because you could. I think I saw someone like they neuroparasited a Viper, used parasitic bomb, and then when it ended, it actually undid and it just killed all of their own units or something insane.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Mind control does funky stuff, by the way, guys. Stay away from it, kids.
Yeah, probably not too healthy.
Not at all. The couple of infested Terrans, I do like seeing these used a little bit, of course. Those rocket launches on the infested Marines are really powerful.
These storms, though, it's of course the Spore Crawlers are not taking any damage from the storms, but the Lurkers are gradually starting to go down. And once the Lurkers are gone, it's pretty much just Corruptors and Infestors. That's the entirety of the army here. So once he loses that kind of backbone on the ground, the High Templars really have nothing to fear.
Yeah, and pushing through really nicely as well with the storms onto those infestors with the feedbacks, and also the storms onto the infested Terrans, preventing them from being able to do anything. Now their Corruptors are going to step up.
High Templar sniped off.
Superman, lightning shot straight into the heart of those Corruptors, blowing them up now. Do you want to back off those infested Terrans? Got to be careful.
But this is such a big win for Harstem because all he has to do is back up, and he claims the game.
GG.
Starbuck fallen in the first game. Well done by Harstem, making that late game situation work off of.
Harstem good unit.
Yeah, we have to go back to the 5-minute mark, 4-minute mark when Starbuck went for the super fast lair, went for the eventual Hydra Den. I wonder if there was like nerves or something, and maybe he made a mistake in the build and was supposed to get the gas geysers earlier to go for something on that lair. Because even though he went for a super fast 2-based lair, the Hydra Den didn't come down immediately. The Night Storm didn't come down immediately.
It wasn't a fast Hydra Den. It wasn't a fast Nidus. He was like, I'm going to not get a third and get a lair, and then
not do anything with it.
Do nothing.
And it may, I feel like, unless there was something big that we were missing, that had to have been a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a tell. Something that he could have seen might have spooked him. And I think nerves definitely plays into it. You're in an elimination match against an opponent who is definitely favored against you and is also extremely handsome, which, you know, that's nerve-wracking.
It is, and that is thankfully one of the benefits of playing online for WCS Winter as opposed to a lot of the WCS circuit events. You don't have to look at his face every 10 seconds and be like, God, what a handsome Adonis.
Yeah,
what do I do against that?
The problem is the imagination is a lot more powerful than our eyes.
Is it possible to imagine someone more handsome than Harstem?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is our brains usually embellish things. So he may even look more beautiful when he thinks about
his lips are even more on fire.
There you
go. Game number 2 looks like it's going to New Repugnancy. Now, I always like to just mention this is a very nice map for cannon rushes. If Harstem decides to take it from a long game to a short game.
I'm sorry, Fear Dragon, but if no one's going to BC rush for me, no one's going to cannon rush for you. Forget about it.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works. You don't get your cake and eat it too.
Well, you know, Kelzer's playing later today. You might get it. Vindicta.
Might we though?
Might we? Might we?
Does Vindicta build battle cruisers?
I don't actually know.
I don't think anybody knows.
We'll have to find out as we move into game number 2 of our decider match. Can Starbuck make some sort of kind of miracle comeback happen? Or is Harstem just going to be walking away with this one with a quick 2-0?
Let's find out as we're loaded in to New Repugnancy in the Northeast. The blue Protoss player leads the series. He is Harstem.
And down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, it is our red Zerg player from Team MIA. He is Starbuck. What does repugnancy mean?
I don't know. I'm not even gonna try on that one.
Like I know.
I've heard.
I know what something is. I know what repugnant is. That's when it's like a very negative thing or something you don't really like. Or as our producer was saying, a very gross thing.
So is it
I don't
just
know
like
what repugnancy is, though.
Is it just like a subliminal message about the map being
Repugnance?
Giving a feeling of repugnance.
Why is it new repugnancy? What happened
Because
to old
it's
repugnancy?
a new map.
Ah.
Yeah, it's literally brainwashing you.
At the end of the
map.
season, do we change it? If we keep this map for next ladder's map pool, do we call it old repugnancy?
What you do is you randomly change a few things around this map, and the next season you call it New Phantasmagoria.
New Phantasmagoria.
That's right.
I like that.
That's the next.
You should be a map maker namer.
I could do that.
You can contract Nate out to name your maps.
I can't make the maps, but I can name them. You know.
Avex Avex asks a lot of people. He's one of the map makers that has made a lot of the maps in the ladder map pool. He asks people to help name the maps. He asked Tempo to name Invader.
Oh yeah, Einvadir. I remember that map.
Einvadir. That was a great map, right? Don't you remember that, Nate? That time that you got proxy oracled on that map? Like every game.
I think that was the map where you had what, 2 entrances to your natural, and there was no space. You actually could not fit 5 barracks in your main base if you built engineering bay.
Oh my god, I don't remember that part, but I'll take your word for it. That sounds great.
Of all the things that Terran players complain about, the one that I think does make a lot of sense when it comes to the maps is being able to fit stuff in places. You can just slap 8 gateways anywhere, and Zerg players are like, well, I just puke creep all over the map, and I don't really do anything else.
Well, Blizzard agrees with you because I think they recently made.
They did tweak these maps.
More space
they did
to one
tweak
of the
these maps before WCS started to give a little bit more space in the mains.
Yeah. Okay, Starbuck, I'm on board with this. A reasonably timed third base coming down. Gonna look to play a little bit more normal. That last game not quite working out the way he was planning. Zergling speed on the way, and of course Harstem is going for that patented Stargate opening.
Yep, Stargates. People, I love the discussions around the Stargate, and they're like, well, didn't they buff this, didn't they do that? And I'm like, well, you see, the thing is, no matter what changes you make to anything else, Stargate is always going to be a staple opener for PvZ, because the Oracle can stop all-ins, it can scout, it's very fast, it can get in and out without getting killed, same for the Phoenix, and also, it's like the ace. It's that ace card that you have, right? You get it, and you're like, all right, well, you know, I spawned with the first piece of Exodia, and if the rest of the pieces ever are necessary, at least I've got the most important one. And when you reach the end of the game, and all of a sudden you're like, I actually need to get a fleet beak, and you're like, boom, you can just get it, right?
I don't have to start this up 30 seconds later. Oh, you made mutas. I guess I can actually start making Phoenix now instead of in 30 seconds when you've killed my pylons and prevented any production.
The Stargate is the ultimate card to just be holding on to, even if it doesn't do a whole lot in the start of the game, which is why it's invaluable.
Yeah.
And that's, of course,
and the scouting information is so good, as we saw with Harstem versus a laser earlier on.
And a unit like the Oracle can generate infinite value over the course of the game with Revelation. Obviously, it can kill stuff, but that's not even why that unit is so good.
This isn't even my final form.
This isn't even my final form.
Forge and Robo on the way behind this for Harstem. He's already finished up that Twilight. Oh no, actually did not get a Twilight Council just yet. Okay. So we'll see if he does opt to throw one down, if this is going to lead into the kind of normal old Archon drop follow-up that a lot of press players still like to do. But I imagine that third base can be coming down soon. There it is.
And look at that transition. Double Robo. Thinking about those roaches, probably. Thinking about maybe some beautiful Immortals.
Immortals are pretty beautiful.
Immortals
What's your favorite Immortal skin? Immortals have cool skins.
The Aduna Immortal is actually really nice.
Is that the one with a big thing on its back?
No, that's the Purifier one, right? Purifier units all have the things on their backs. Maybe the Aduna Immortal.
Maybe.
I will say the Purifier Immortal looks really good too. I was actually just thinking about it the other day while I was dreaming about M. Canning and how he used that beautiful Immortal skin. They stand out.
Oracle. One goes down.
That one won't generate infinite value if you're dreaming, just so you know.
It generated a very finite amount of value.
Yeah. And I'm not really worried still for Harstem. He's pumping out 2 Immortals at a time. Starbuck's building roaches, and as long as Harstem doesn't just start cranking out observers and warp prisms, I think we're okay. He's got a lot going for him. The Oracle's going to fly right over this little roach swath. And I think if you're Harstem, you're like, oh, well, golly gee, I was already building this counter, so thank you. Thank you for that. Good.
Oh, you're going to morph in those Ravagers right underneath my Oracle? I could turn on my Pulsar Beam and kill those after they finish.
Yep. Don't want to get caught out, but
he's going to get caught out!
And there you go.
Yep.
So I'm trying to focus down sentries in the
I
meantime.
do like that.
And yeah,
And Immortal going to get focus fire down as well. There's no Warp Prism with his army, so it is harder to pull those back, but he is still going to be able to.
Other Immortals are popping out now. We got some slow Zealots being warped in here as well, and that Bile is going to hit nada. And I think the Oracle, he's got 20 energy. Yep.
That was a committed attack, by the way. That was 43 workers. There are 10 or 11 on the way now. 15 workers on the way to play catch-up, but
Harstem's in a stellar position. I think the only thing that he would need here to a counterattack would be charge. I think it's a bit risky to counterattack otherwise, but with just the Immortal account that he has, anything is possible.
Absolutely. I mean, stellar is a really appropriate word to use, as Starbuck is only in the stars, but Harstem has gone stellar.
I didn't
even have a better joke for that.
No. I won't in-control you for that one, but we're just moving past it. Shield battery is done at the wall.
I really like the shield battery on the other side of the wall.
By the way, things I love, the Oracle. It's just chilling.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have Hydras here. I am going to just park over.
He made another one, too.
Yeah, well, Oracles like to have friends, you know. There's not many units that can keep up with them, like literally, so they need buddies.
Well, he can continue to Revelation any of these roaches, prevent them from easily getting to run by. Harstem has full knowledge of this and even moves forward. Revelations, the Evo chamber and the hatchery. Just spots out and sees if there's any units over there. But Harstem has got his third base up and running fully now. He's got his gas geysers finishing on up, and he is ready for the move out with how many Immortals? That's a total of 5 Immortals.
Nice. That is a lot of stuff. The Prism is out.
Oh, charge isn't actually done yet, so it's going to be a little bit harder, but he's in such a good spot, I don't know if it matters.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he needs it at this point, because those Hydras are almost going to have, I guess by the time the fight really happens, they should have the plus range. They won't have the speed upgrade, though. I guess they're fighting on creeps, so it doesn't matter, but the Immortals are going to push out their first couple of force fields, and the drones immediately pulled off the line. Defensive stasis ward being put down. And I think Harstem's biggest concern, honestly, is he's like, well, if I had charge, I could probably force this, but there's... It's like, well, if we're both on 3 bases, and I suicide my whole entire army right now, I might lose. So
yeah, but
let's not do that.
You know, the importance of that kind of situation is when a Zerg player is behind, they have to make the choice. Do I go extremely greedy on economy, or do I just pump out as many units as possible in case they attack me again? And in this situation, Starbuck kind of went more toward, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of units
I'm going to
then
make
get
40 Banelings and burrow them all in front of one of these 2 ramps, and then just hope you can blow up the entire Protoss army in 1 second.
And that's when the Protoss player uses the other ramp. You're like,
yeah.
oh, well,
but there are only 2 ramps
50-50.
on this map, okay? I'm telling everybody in Twitch chat right now, put your burrowed Banes at those 2 ramps, because 99% of the time your opponent's sending stuff by there.
What's sort of sad, though, is that the burrowed Baneling, because Protoss players don't make that many sentries anymore, like, you still see a few, but they're not as important as they were in Wings of
Liberty.
Liberty.
If you had 10 Banelings blow up under this, it would kill a significant number of it, wouldn't it? Probably not the Immortals.
When most of your army is Immortals, I agree it does, but
40 Banelings. If you detonate, if you clump them all up, maybe, I don't know.
If you got up to 40 Banelings, why don't you just kill them anyways?
Well, there's a lot of Immortals. They're shooting stuff. We've got the Guardian Shield as well, and
These Immortals
no way.
die.
There was no way Harstem was going to lose this fight. He has way too much.
Yep. And Storm is about halfway finished.
Is that the Oracle or the Warp Prism in the main? That's a Warp Prism. So there's a big counterattack happening during all of this. We got Zealots. One of them was dropped in that low ground expansion. The rest are being warped inside of the main base, and that's just painful. And we have naked Overlords that have no special properties whatsoever, just flying into
They need to confirm and see, okay, Harstem, you are in fact out or doing quite well on mining right now. You didn't somehow right-click all your probes over to a simulator or something.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, yes, I am in this situation now.
Giving them the campaign experience. In campaign, random Overlords do just fly into your base for no reason.
Yeah, it's really tough for Starbuck now because he will look a lot worse than he is just because he's already fallen so much further behind from the earlier parts of this game that everything he's doing is a playback or to try and come back from behind. And when it doesn't work, he looks worse. And it's a tough snowball.
See, this is where Bly would have just finished a Spire and would have like 40 Mutalisks out of nowhere against these 10 Immortals. Except Harstem would probably... Well, he's got 1 Archon.
That's what the Stargate's for, though we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Literally invulnerable.
Time to play my trump card.
Cancels a base. That is Nice, something. Starbuck, I want to note, finally finishing up one of those upgrades. He has fallen quite far behind on those just because of how this game has played out and how aggressive he was. He got the evolution chamber up a while ago, and finally now he can start up on +2 weapons, but Harstem is going to have +3 weapons before that is even completed. And wow, getting this guy.
Wow. Ouchie wawa.
There's the one Phoenix.
Yeah, about that. Go home, Forrest.
Run, Forrest, run. I finally saw that movie about 3 weeks ago.
God, why? How are we friends?
Immortals.
Just
engage
kidding.
with
I love
this
you.
army.
It's a good movie.
I know.
I'm glad you saw it.
Me too.
If you had never seen it, and ever at any point, I would have posthumously just unfriended you.
Actually, I mean, the truth was I had seen the last 60% or 70% of the movie at least 8 or 9 times, but I had
Nice.
never seen the first 40%.
Well, congratulations on that. It's a
Ooh, nice.
last-ditch attempt. The Worm of Nidus with some Hydras to cover it.
And Harstem could just recall a bit of this army when he wants
Will
to.
he recall? Will he base trade? Will he do both?
I think you go in, see if you can kill the army or kill a little bit, and then you recall, because it's still going to take a little bit of time for Starbuck to get something done here.
Okay. Okay, well, the Hydras are making their way inside of the main base. Harstem has blown up everything in his path so far, and there's a bunch of roaches that are going to be coming out to try and deflect this back. However, we are going to most likely see those roaches immediately pulverized by the 10 Immortals. And I think now that he's getting to your soft underbelly, I think you got to pop the recall for Harstem, right?
He's going after all the hatcheries. He's getting
Lair
a
first, yeah.
lair. That's okay.
Should he go?
He doesn't even have to recall everything, right? He recalls just the Archons and 6 or 7
Well,
Immortals.
I'm just saying, there is a weird world where, you know, them drones are kind of hard to take care of sometimes if you haven't got probes out.
Ooh, I like the storms. Gonna prevent a lot of these from running. You know, I did see Penguin play a really cool series and a really cool
Does he
style.
not have energy for recall? Now I'm just nervous. He does. Okay,
He does
there
at
we
this base, and he is
go. Bring
finally
us
gonna
back!
save it. Yeah.
Good.
You know what's kind of funny though is I feel like Harstem did get the worst end of that. He's gonna be losing a lot of workers over here.
I still think his army's unstoppable.
But you know, the funny thing is that his army is unstoppable, but his army actually can't catch this army of Starbuck as easily.
Wow, what if he
Obviously
puts everything
these-
in that Nidus and just
Oh, go back in there, guys. No. Or kill at least the Templar Archives.
Now,
and
he's
stuff.
spreading him out. He's got the army on the left side as well. I don't even know if there's any air units to spot this. That one Archon is like stuck.
Oh, he's up on the high ground. There's no high ground vision for
Is
Harstem right
this-
now.
Will this be the greatest throw of all time? in
Oh
WCS?
my god. Harstem is sitting down in supply. He still has the better army, but he has no way to move across the map and deny things. There's a single probe.
Well, I don't think there's much to deny. His real issue is that he just needs to get all this stuff out of his base, but the multi-prong has been really good. Yeah, I think split
Well,
up the Immortals. You've
he has-
got enough Immortals.
He has to prevent more. There's still a Hydra Den and a Roach Warren, so there is still unit production right now for Starbuck. He needs to deny something there, right?
Yeah.
One Immortal kills a
A
hatchery.
bit of work. That Immortal will go down bravely.
It did something there. 53 workers going down. Man, that's tough.
Yeah.
I would also not hate a Dark Shrine right
few
now.
pylons are actually really important right now. That's going to block you, Harstem.
Dark Shrine? No. I guess he doesn't have any resources right now.
I really would have, I mean, I feel like he could have fought that army on the high ground. I think if you're worried about the vision, you tag Revelation, but again...
I think he's worried that they would just go into the Nidus Worm and then he would face the army moving up to kill us.
Oh, goodness. Well, he's going to bring everything else over to try to push up this ramp one more
Whoa.
time. Archons are gone, and it's just these 2 Immortals trying to hold on. He's going to have to bring everything else that he had back over. He did route the army out of his main, back to the Nidus. I don't think he killed the Nidus, which could be a problem. Oh, he's going to recall. He's like, I need to get down to this Nexus right now.
Yep. Killing a couple of these Hydras is definitely going to be pretty important because these are still difficult to reproduce. Harstem in a bit of a dicey spot now.
He's been culled to 4 Immortals, which is a more losable position, I would say, for sure.
And he doesn't have a Robo anymore, so not only can he not remake Immortals, he can't remake a Warp Prism, which is really what I feel like he needs right now.
But you know what's going to happen? He's got a couple of gates he's still holding on to. He has 2,000 gas. So what I'm seeing happen here is that he gets a Templar Archives, and he's warping in sentries now too, and he just sends out an unholy amount, like a Immortal Archon, and just obliterates everything.
I do like that. And sniping off this Nidoswarm finally is going to be a bit of a win. Those are hard to replace for Starbuck in his situation. And he doesn't actually have the other end of the Nidoswarm, so that is another reason why it's even harder to replace.
Yeah.
Or no lair.
Problem with this type of army is he's like really maximizing his damage potential with all the Ravagers and combo with the Hydras, but he could run into the issue soon of just not having enough to really buffer if a bunch of Zealots charge onto him.
Okay, I really like the Dark Shrine. The Roaches are going to spot that out, though, and potentially have the opportunity to get some damage onto it. There's a few Zealots rolling on in, but the rest of the army is showing up, trying to get some damage
he's
done.
trying to focus on the Nexus?
Ooh. Yeah, with the Corrosive Bios, they're going for the Nexus. The Force Field's actually keeping the Immortals a bit out of position. The Zealots are not going to be able to fight this either. Starbuck knocks down the Force Fields finally and can potentially jump on those Immortals. I actually think Starbuck wins this fight right here unless
he's got to bring everything else back over. Yeah, this is really difficult. There's the Bios preemptively going for where those probes are going to be. He's just trying to hold on without a whole lot of anything.
GG.
Wow,
Starbuck.
GG.
Man, I have to say, though, Harstem did have a Dark Shrine on the way. There was no lair, but I understand wanting to tap out there. That's a pretty tough spot.
I feel like Harstem got a little overconfident there, because they're really I still
He could have recalled earlier.
He could have recalled earlier. I did not think that he needed to wait for there to be units in all of his bases. Killing the lair, I can understand wanting to do that, but then he also like moved his army up north again a little bit, chased after all of those drones, like dropped a storm on them. Like, secure the main base, get rid of the Nidus, you know, don't let 12 Hydras kill everything that you have. And
yeah. On the flip side of that, I have to really commend Starbuck on playing that base trade out so well, because all those decisions that
very
Harstem had
Starbuck
trouble
way
making,
to win that game.
Yeah, it's not easy to know exactly how to split up your army. Not just being able to micromanage the 3 different attacks and the Nidoswarm and the drop overlord play and the run buys and everything, but knowing how much to allocate to each one of those attacks so that you don't just get immediately smashed by 3 Zealots or like 2 Immortals or something, just single-handedly defend something, you get damage done on almost every front. That was extremely well done by Starbuck.
Yeah, I mean, he did a really good job. I mean, in that situation, I feel like the player who's behind will always want the base trade.
Oh, absolutely.
And Harstem gave it to him. He's like, you know what? I have enough to kill your whole army like 2 or 3 times over, but instead, I'm going to just kind of mow down these bases that you already pulled all your drones away from. I'm going to blow up your tech. I'm going to split my army as much as possible. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like if you recall in the main, get rid of the Nidus, clear those units out, and then carve your way out through the natural, I feel like Harstem should have had a pretty easy finish up, because that game,
I agree.
Everything went so well for him early on, and then it just seemed like he's like, oh, like he was like, oh, I'm going to attack. My opponent's counterattacking. Oh, whatever, I'll be fine. And then that's where he lost the game.
Yeah, base trades are tough. I feel like it really is its own skill set. Looks like we got a remake. Starbuck, in fact, does not want to play Terran. In fact, that is
Ravi,
against the
you're
rules.
breaking the illusion. No one saw. Nobody saw in the game. No one knew.
We're just going to stay on the screen for a solid, like, 2 minutes.
So we have to remake. We have to just say it bugged out.
Let's stay on that for a little longer.
It's okay.
I really do enjoy the Dark Templars, though, in those base trades.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as you know you're entering a base trade.
If he wanted to do it that way, if Harstem wanted to attack that way, then you just immediately slam down the Dark Shrine as soon as you realize that it's going to be like that. Maybe the Zerg focuses it, maybe they don't. But if you can get it up, then you're fine. And it just not getting the tech up follow-up fast enough, like when you have 2,000 gas, you redo that final fight with like an extra 7 Archons.
Yeah. It helps out quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to Cyberforce for game number 3. And this is now that weird spot where Harstem, doing so well, big favor to make it out either number 1 or number 2 in the group. A laser makes it out number 1. Harstem has to go to the decider match, but I'm sure still felt very confident or had already beaten Starbuck. And now he's 1 game away from potentially getting knocked out of WCS Winter. Harstem? That's kind of insane.
I think Harstem probably still should go into this game with confidence.
Probably.
But Starbuck, renewed hope. I will say, this would definitely be our first like real upset in WCS Winter so far. If Harstem were to be eliminated right here by Starbuck,
I would say end result upset? Because I think we've had individual game or series upsets.
Have we really had a bunch? Like, I mean, as far as results go, like who's getting out
There
of
was
the groups?
who was it? Skillis?
I know Skillis be
Yeah.
hearing me, but I mean, like, in terms of like the
Yeah, yeah.
actual results.
Final results, I do agree. I think that we haven't had any major upsets of, oh man, I didn't think that player would make it out.
I still don't think Harstem will get knocked out here. But if he did, that would be quite the trip.
Still an uphill battle, but it seems potentially doable. As this guy up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, still the favorite. So they can close it out cleanly 2-1. It is Harstem from Team Asterion.
And he faces off against our red Zerg player in the southeast position of the map. He is Starbuck.
Okay, so we have seen Harstem. I want to bring it up. Go for that interesting play that he went for against a laser. It got shut down in game number 3 versus a laser, but the Robo gateway attack off of 4 or 5 gateways and just making a lot of zealots and stalkers, not even actually many sentries, just going for it.
We saw someone else do that recently too, did we?
In
in
the
PvZ already in winter.
In in winter?
Yeah, I thought we saw it there too. Maybe in GSL as well.
From what I was hearing, or I think from you or someone else, it was also in GSL. One of the matches that I missed.
Okay.
But it still worked really, really well game number 1 versus a laser. And it was because a laser completely cut worker production at 35 or 36 or something around that area and just made non-stop lings and roaches that he was able to deal with it. I don't know that Starbuck is going to have the same read if Harstem went for it again. It'd be interesting if he decided to throw that out, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, I always, you're talking to me, Fear Dragon. Variety is everything that I love about StarCraft, seeing people break out these different strategies, especially when it's something that isn't Stargate related.
As the most diverse Terran player.
I don't think there's anyone who's used all of the Terran units more than I have. I'm very proud to own that. Stargate, perhaps? Overlord is going to come.
Definitely looks like one.
Now the Overlord, and this is what we were talking about, you're like, yes, well, the Gateway is not going yet, but the Stargate going first would normally be your sign, right? It's like, oh, Gateway is delayed, but because a lot of Protoss just delay it now anyway, as a Zerg player, it's not like a surefire thing. It's like, well, the core isn't spinning yet, but it could still be a Robo, because you don't really know.
It's not 100%, but you definitely do still feel a bit of an indication that it's probably going to still be a Stargate, just not even because of the Cybernetics core, but also just because it's so standard.
Yeah.
So I expect Starbuck to be prepared. He did go for a normally timed third base once again this game. Oops.
Yep. Other builds are fun in PvZ, and they can be effective, but the thing that really boils down to is, well, you're not going to get the same level of harass out of a fast warp prism that you would out of an Oracle. It doesn't move as fast. An Observer doesn't move as fast. Observers are actually a lot harder to keep alive. Pretty easy to spot by the trained eye. And then, unless your opponent is attacking you with roaches or you're going to do a crazy all-in, building Immortals early on won't do too much either. But the Phoenix will always have that utility, go around the map, deny scouting, pick off these Overlords. The Oracle can attack, it can harass, it can defend. It can, actually, Oracle also makes great party favor because of the disco dance mode.
It is pretty
Oracle is good at everything, including entertaining.
On all graphic settings, it has a pretty great dance.
Yeah. It literally turns into a disco ball, by the way, for anyone wondering. It just starts spinning around, lights come off.
You still have to unlock that, I think, by being a certain level, though, for Protoss.
Is there anybody who's played 5 games and not hit level 30? I don't even know. I feel like I'd be level like 1,000 or something by now if that was uncapped.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty high level in co-op, so I know
I've been begging for that forever. Yeah.
We do see the typical Spore Callers coming down for Starbuck, and then you usually will use maybe a couple of Queens to defend one of the last bases if you decide to skimp on one of the Spores. But Queen's actually going to be sitting at the base with the Spores, so Starbuck maybe just going to try and anticipate where the Oracle comes in from. Usually doesn't go straight to the natural.
No. Right. Interesting, though. We got Resonating Glaives and a Baneling Nest coming in for Starbuck.
Did he cancel the Oracle?
He did. Oh, yeah. Banelings could be This is a really interesting choice because Resonating Glaive Adepts can do really well against the Lings, but the Banelings is where things can get a bit tricky if there's a fight. He's building a lot of Zerglings. He starts the lair, which does confuse me a little bit, but this could actually be a perfect storm for Starbuck. If Harstem moves out with a bunch of Adepts right before Resonating Glaives finishes, and he's able to get a good Lynx around and these Banelings can get some good connections, well, this could fall apart really fast for our Dutch Protoss.
Well, Adepts getting ready to shade on forward. Are they actually going to catch vision of the Banelings?
He's hiding. He's hiding the Banes. Oh my god.
Lings are going to try and catch these, and ooh, the Adepts do cancel their shade. They go over to the third base despite not seeing the Banelings, and now those Banelings are going to be revealed. But funny enough, the timing of this, the Banelings, they might be able to get behind the wall. No!
Great choke. Great micro by Harstem. Goodness gracious. The Adepts are going to be able to shade away. Now there's still a lot of Zerglings to fight against these Adepts, and it's still a bit messy, but Harstem has a third base on the way behind this. The Adepts are going to be trading a bit more effectively than they normally would be thanks to Resonating Glaives, and that just a little bit of harass as well. Pull the Lynx back just for another tiny bit of time.
Yeah, I would say the big win there is that he forced so many Lings and forced some Banelings, killed off a few of them as well, sacrificed an Adept for a lot of the Banelings, only traded out 9 Adepts. But didn't actually kill many workers. Yeah, he actually only killed 1 worker. So it's still a win, I think, for Harstem, but it certainly isn't one of those kind of game-ending situations we sometimes see Zerg players fall apart at, which I only bring up just because I think still Harstem a bit favored, so Starbuck being able to make it in the next game on pretty even footing is nice.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was a perfect storm of circumstances. Really nice to be able to get the Banelings that early, because honestly, I was thinking, oh, Starbuck is going to try to do some big attack, maybe, shut down the third, but then Harstem's like, no, I'm bringing the party to you, and you have everything that you need to cut this cake up, and he did a great job with it. Beautiful, very symmetrical.
Hydra Den finished up, so we got those Hydralisks on the way here with 4 or 5 bases there. He cancels one of the bases, interestingly enough. I guess he must have seen the big Immortal Sentry Adept push making its way across the map. Still got 52 workers just sitting there for Harstem. Third base not really minding with full saturation. This is going to be a very big important push for Starbuck to be able to defend. Banelings, I think they're going to finish on the wrong side of this force field?
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain about that.
Oh,
a few of them do finish on the right side, but not able to get up to the soft sentry underbelly. And with the 2 Immortals, that many Adepts and Sentries and all these force fields, it looks like Harstem is getting himself in a really nice position to pick off this base and get a huge economic lead against Starbuck.
Going for some Baneling bombs. I do like this. He's going to try and look for the connections. Funny enough, though, Harstem already pre-splits his army, even if some of the Sentries die.
So goes to.
Harstem not only kills the third base, but it looks like he's still going to keep some units alive to continue pushing on forward. War Prism much further back. And I feel like that's already more than enough damage. Harstem, maybe give us a little bit of scare with that first attack.
After a rough game, too. Drops the hammer here in this third map. And yeah, the first wave of it looked pretty rough. But because he got the third during it, he's had so much money. And it's just drones dying in droves over here.
All right, this natural expansion is going to be going down pretty shortly as well. Last Blood of Banelings roll on in, get the kind of moral victory there and killing off the sentries. But there it is, GG, WSP, GG.
GG,
Harstem
was up, well played.
Going to be taking the series 2-1 and being our second player to advance on out of Group C of Europe.
Did a great job, absolutely amazing player. I expected to see Harstem get out, and he did. Very hard call to make with this group, of course, though, as we all know.
Yeah. 2 favorites make it out. No massive surprises. Starbuck almost making it work and gave us a very exciting game number 2 as well.
Yeah.
So big congratulations to Laser and Harstem. They're going to be moving on to that second group stage. And that does mean that the European segment of the broadcast is going to be coming to an end. But don't worry, guys, because we had some awesome StarCraft that just happened. That says Group B, not Group C. But
no fear, Dragon. I don't need more StarCraft. You can't possibly be telling me there's more StarCraft.
There is, in fact, more StarCraft, and not only is it just more StarCraft, it's actually more StarCraft for the Americas region. We got players from Brazil, we got players from Mexico, we got players from America trying to remember the fourth player right now.
I mean,
India. We have the only player. We've tracked down the population of 1 billion people in India, and we found the one that's really good at StarCraft. It's certainly not me.
I think you're pretty good at StarCraft, Fear Dragon.
I think you're wrong, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the sentiment. It's going to be a very, very fun day with Kelazur, Cham, Demi, formerly known as Demi Love, and Vindicta. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys in WCS Americas after a bit of a break.